Okay, hey, welcome back. We got our first guest. Are you excited?
So excited.
I love doing musical guests, but this is probably my favorite set of musical guests.
Oh, I can tell.
I love video games as well.
Right in your wheelhouse.
It's absolutely in my wheelhouse. So we have FamilyJules. Jules, how you doing? How's it going?
Doing all right. What's up, Chris?
Nothing much. So, first thing I gotta ask. So you shred on the guitar, absolutely shred. So when I was doing my research, it said you got your first guitar in 2006. Was that something you were like always wanted to do, or is it something you just picked up and then got really good at?
I was thinking about this the other day. I remember specifically being a kid and being like, "Hey, Mom, can I get an electric guitar?" And she was like, "No, you'll electrocute yourself." And I was like, "Oh, that makes sense. There's like metal on it and it's electric, so yeah, that makes sense." I didn't give that second thought. Well, like, wait a minute, how doesn't anybody else get? Whatever, it's fine. It's fine. My mom probably knows best. So yeah, I just kind of put it out of my head for a while. I decided I'd learn drums, and I wasn't very good at that. I learned piano. I was okay, but still not amazing at it. But I had a guitar gifted to me for Christmas as a surprise. They were like, "Hey, you know, my great aunt and my mom decided to come together and was like, let's give this 16-year-old something to do so he doesn't get into trouble." And that was the guitar.
It was an acoustic guitar, right?
Yep, it was an acoustic guitar.
So when did you get your first electric guitar?
It would have been probably a year after. Probably like a year after I got my first one, so probably 2007. I got like a little Ibanez electric guitar.
And you probably didn't put those down ever. Like, you got the guitars and you just had them and you were just learning stuff all the time.
Yeah, I guess like the cool thing about picking up guitar when you're in high school is like high school sucks, so when you come home, like, you'll literally do anything else, you know? So like, yeah, I would be in school and, you know, be doing my work, and then I'd be thinking about like, I can't wait to go home and do literally anything else. And the best thing that was there was either video games or guitar. And I picked up my guitar every day, practiced a bunch of hours. But it actually wasn't for a few years until I started saying like, hey, maybe I should learn how to play an F-Zero X song or a Zelda song or something like that. And I think then that's when it really started coming together as to what I would do for the rest of my life.
Yeah, and so you tried to play in 3 different bands before becoming like a one-man show. And so how did you come to that decision? And what was that process like for you? You decided that being on your own would work better for you.
You ever work in like a group project in school and you're the only person?
Yeah, really recently.
Three specific instances where I felt that, and I was like, you know what? Maybe these projects, since I'm doing all the work anyway. No, I mean, obviously it was, you know, I was always the most eager to be pushing forward with music and stuff. So that was always like, you know, people get into a band for a variety of different reasons. And my reason was definitely I wanted to make music, I wanted to perform, and it was happening slower than I wanted to. And I know that I was the nagger that was like, come on guys, please, let's go do, let's perform, let's do this. And they're like, no dude, let's just like hang out and, you know, just watch some movies and play some video games and, you know, hang out with friends and go to parties and stuff. And I was like, no, we gotta like, you know. So eventually I was just like, no, I can, you know, you can program drums on a computer and I can play guitar. I can do all this. So then I did.
You're the Steven Stills of your group. So how many of those bands did you actually start? If any.
I feel like they were all like co-starting, you know what I mean? Like they were all like me and somebody else decided to start it, and then we brought people on. But yeah, for the most part, it ended up kind of me driving driving everything with I'm trying to think. But now I'm still in a band now, and now it's and that band started after I'd kind of started my YouTube stuff, and that one is wonderful. I love my current band. They're wonderful.
And what's the name of that band?
Called Thunderforge.
Thunderforge. So you release a new song every Tuesday on the one channel on FamilyJules, Thursday on your own personal channel as well. But you also started streaming a lot on Twitch. Has that become something that's to you as big as the music, is going on Twitch? And because you have a big following on Twitch as well.
It hasn't always been that. Like I've been doing FamilyJules for about 10 years now. Twitch was about 7 or 8 years ago that I started that, but and it kind of started kind of slow. But then the personal channel ended up kind of being like this, like the stuff that we do on the Twitch channel, the streaming, we'll make like little videos out of it, and it actually ended up being a cool like two-way feeding, I just saw this clip from The Office. The only word that comes to my head is two-way petting zoo. You know, like they're both feeding each other. So like, you know, I'll make a stream, and you know, it'll be I don't know, we'll play Among Us or something, and then we'll I have editors that I'll hire to be like, hey, can you take this video and make something video out of it, you know, and then they'll like put it on Jules Conroy, that channel, and then people will find that video and then come to the stream, and then the people who watch the stream come watch the video. So then that was kind of cool because that kind of came out of nowhere, whereas the music stuff was something I really like. I went hard on for a very, very long time.
You're just cross-marketing yourself. You do what, you know, this group is coming over here, this group's coming over here. You're bringing it all together and making one big market. So that's really cool.
I feel like it's tough right now for any kind of creator, you know, just because you have to kind of market yourself to the broadest possible audience, especially with social media and stuff, because so many people will see lots and lots of stuff and just not engage with it and not interact with it. And it's that engagement and interaction that actually pushes things to move forward. And what I found with music is, like, you know, like everyone for the most part loves music. Video game music, metal guitar covers starts to get very, very niche. It's kind of a niche of a niche of a niche of a niche. And, you know, once I started doing video game stuff, that was more like, you know, video game, you know, subjectively comedy. That's a much broader thing. So it was kind of interesting kind of having that perspective after kind of being tunneled into this niche for so long. And that's usually what the hard truth I have to give a lot of people who are like, hey, I'm thinking about doing you know, math progressive rock covers of specifically Super Metroid. How well will that do? And I'll be like, there's a few people who I'm sure would love that, but I mean, you're not going to play Madison Square Garden with that. Like, I mean, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, so like that's kind of something that's been really, really cool to kind of branch off into in this time of social media.
It'd be Metroid would be an odd game to pick as well, because they haven't even released a game for Metroid in forever. I mean, picking that,
they were gonna, and then they scrapped like the whole thing, I guess. They really? Like, yeah, Metroid Prime 4. They
the
announced,
game you're talking about. Yeah, they announced it, and then it's just
disappeared. They made an announcement a few years later where they were just like, hey, you know, the game is not coming out the way that we want, so we unfortunately do have to scrap the whole thing and then start over. And my thing with Nintendo is, like, I am all for that. Like a company who, you know, obviously that's like, you know, not going to be the most profitable thing. The most profitable thing probably would be like, say, like, well, screw it, we already spent all this money, let's just put out a piece of crap game and then do better on Metroid Prime 5. But Nintendo has always been really good about not doing that, about like, no, we're going to put out a polished game. And, you know, Miyamoto has been on record famously for saying, you know, a bad game is a bad game forever. A late game is a good game eventually, you know, and people forget about all that stuff. Like, once Metroid Prime 4 is out and it's been out for a while, everyone's going to forget about the time that it took to get there. Like, easily.
Especially their biggest games, they're not going to put them out have something where people are like, oh yeah, I don't like this game. Like they have to make sure it's one of their top games. So when you started putting out videos, you immediately went to the video game music. What made you decide to go from more serious type music to the video game type music?
It was more of what had an emotional reaction out of me, you know? Like I think since I grew up with things like Banjo-Kazooie and, you know, The Legend of Zelda and Super Mario Bros. And like all of these games and stuff, before I got into bands like, Avenged Sevenfold, the bands that really like kind of, you know, that I got brought up on, the nostalgia overload of hearing a video game melody gave me more of a whatever, that musical high that you get when listening to a song you like. And I found that it was more rewarding to play stuff like that than play stuff from bands. So I think I just kind of followed that, you know, like at a certain point I was like, yeah, you know, this isn't customary. This isn't like a thing that a lot of people do, but it's what makes me happy. So I'm gonna go for it. I think I just kind of followed that as far as it went, and got me pretty far somehow.
And you announced that it was a while ago now, but you announced that you were the guitarist on Cadence of Hyrule, which came out for the Nintendo Switch. First of all, congrats on that, because that's so amazing that you are forever going to be a part of a Legend of Zelda game, which is, I mean, that's got to be an amazing feeling. How did that opportunity come up?
I on YouTube I did a cover of a song from the game Super Meat Boy, which is an indie game, and the composer actually reached out to me after I had done that, because I guess one of his friends showed it. He's like, hey, look at this, you know, spiky-haired weirdo playing music on a guitar, and he was like, wow, he sure is doing that, and reached out to me, you know, said he appreciated it and stuff, and then we stayed in contact afterwards. And then eventually he did the music for a game called Binding of Isaac, and for the DLC he wanted to have a guitarist for it, so he was like, hey, do you want to do a quick little guitar thing on the DLC for this? And I was like, yeah, of course. And I think that branched out into then him asking me to do guitars for his next game, which was Crypt of the Necrodancer. And Crypt of the Necrodancer eventually got the opportunity to make a Zelda title. So, and then I was still on the team for it. Not only did I get to do the metal guitar or the guitars for the OST, but I also got to do the alternate metal soundtrack that came out this year. Just like Necrodancer also has a alternate metal soundtrack that I did completely myself as well. It was just kind of like I was at the right place at the right time. You know, this was obviously a long time ago. I did the cover in 2011 probably, and then the Necrodancer happened in 2015, and then I got that fateful Discord message probably 2017, where Danny sent me in all lowercase letters, hey, I want to do a Zelda game, and I said, okay.
I guess if that's how I have to.
What's my schedule looking? Yeah, all right.
I think I can fit that in there. Is composing and doing video game music for games something that was a goal of yours, or is it something that kind of became something through the videos?
That was the moon. I was shooting for the moon. That was the moon. And I just figured, even if I missed, I'd be much further along than I would have been if I did nothing. But yeah, I wanted to. I was really inspired by people who wrote music for like Nintendo 64, specifically the rare titles like Banjo-Kazooie, GoldenEye. The composers Grant Kirkhope, Robin Beanland, Graham Norgate, all these guys, and I was like, man, like if I could have that kind of a legacy, it's kind of like these are the people that had the bigged musical imprint on me, the earliest in my life, and obviously had the biggest musical influence on me. So I was like, if I could have that kind of influence, that's kind of my passing on of the baton, so to speak. That was my that seemed like my purpose, what I wanted my purpose to be, rather.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really what I was going for. And eventually I got into, so many other game soundtracks and stuff. And so yeah, like YouTube was cool. I liked, making videos and making arrangements, and but it never really was like the goal. Like I never wanted to be like a popular YouTuber or like even like a famous guitarist. Like my degree is actually in classical guitar performance, but performance is probably one of my least favorite parts of music. Like I get very nervous and whatever on stage. So it's not the most comfortable thing for me. But the thing that I was like is if I could compose music for games, that'd be amazing, because I get to do that in my pajamas. Like not actually have to go outside in front of a crowd, like ew. No, like so yeah, that started feeling like, okay, that prophecy is coming true, or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird because I think as time has gone on, the things that I've wanted to do has changed. But I have wanted to be in a band and perform as a band, but that being able to compose for a game, and being a video game composer and stuff, that's never gone away. That's always still been the main thing that I want to do.
Well, I can absolutely tell you're extremely passionate about it. Just the way you're talking about it and the way you love to do it. I love to hear that.
Yeah, it's also kind of like, I feel like it's much safer money when you don't have to rely on advertisers and YouTube and stuff like that, and demonetization and stuff, which is what all these, like, you have like millions of subscriber creators who are like, I don't know if I can pay for my multi-million-dollar mansion this month. It's like, well, but you wouldn't buy a multi-million-dollar mansion if you didn't feel like that was a stable income. But obviously, exactly. Like they thought that was the case, and then oops, Coca-Cola doesn't want to put ads on my video. What do I do? Like, so that's always been kind of like, if I could, like I've been very lucky to be stable and make a living out of making video game covers on YouTube. But I've always, the video game composition thing has always been like, that always seems like the right answer and where I'm headed.
And so is this like a full-time job, the video game stuff and the music and stuff like that is an absolute full-time job?
Yep. And Twitch, and doing everything. Yeah,
that must be just amazing. That's living the dream right there. You're doing everything you love to do and you're making the money you need to make for it. That's amazing. That's living the dream right there. So you compose a lot of songs then. When you're doing the rock covers, do you compose those songs as well, or do you find the music sheets somewhere?
Depends. Sometimes there'll be like fan arrangements on like MuseScore or vgmusic.com has been a website I've been using since I was like 8 years old. Like I think that website opened up in like 1996 or 7 or something.
Yeah, it's ancient.
Yeah, I love it. It's like, there's a bunch of MIDI arrangements all over the place. That you can drag into a DAW, like a Logic or Cubase or whatever you use, and it spreads everything out, and you can see all the notes. But obviously, it's not official, so there could be mistakes. So I'll take that. I'll find sheet music, and I'll find the original song, and I'll kind of put it together. And with my musical training, or lack thereof, I put together something, right, and then. I try to go from there. So it's usually an extensive research project in the beginning, and then, but if there's literally nothing, it's like I have to pick every note from scratch by ear.
And the first one you did for YouTube was GoldenEye, I believe, right?
Technically, I did an Ocarina of Time Warp Song medley that I deleted because it sounded so bad. And those ones were definitely like pretty much from scratch.
Wow. I think that's awesome that you could listen to a song, pick up an instrument, and then completely make it into a new sounding track. I think it's amazing because I definitely can't do it. I think that's why
I appreciate it.
I definitely can't do it.
Well beyond both Chris and I's talent level.
Yeah.
In any capacity.
Hey, sometimes it's beyond mine, but I just kind of I see the train wreck and I just The difference is I just barrel right into it. I'm just like, whatever, let's see what happens.
I have an ocarina that
Hey!
I don't know how to play.
It's really hard. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I got it, and I was like, I'm gonna try to play this. I'm gonna try, and I tried. I'm like, what? And
it's not like the recorder. Like you would think it's kind of like the recorder. But
it's not even close.
The weird thing about the ocarina is the amount of breath that you put into it alters the pitch. Where on the recorder, it's like you put down the one hole and it's always gonna play that one note, you know.
Yeah.
But because of that.
Yeah. There it is. There it is.
Looks
Is
like
that
a whale?
Yeah. Hold on, I think I have
That's
the
it.
same one.
Do you have the same one? Let's see. Could I have more light over here?
Yeah.
For anybody looking. Let's see. You
This
got the
one right
same
here?
one? Yeah. We got the same one. There you go.
Yeah, like the idea though is that you know, because like if you like I have all of the big holes covered, like, but if you kind of you get a lot of different notes out of it depending on how much breath you put into it.
I gotta figure out what Yeah, I'm lost. I don't even know why.
Yeah, but like
RIP to all headphone listeners. Thanks, Chris. Sorry, everyone. I'll apologize right now on his behalf. That's gonna suck.
Yeah.
yeah, well, what's cool about it is you can get like a vibrato from it just based on like how you put your breath into it and stuff. So that's why it's like you wouldn't think, but this thing is like it's an advanced instrument. This whale-looking ceramic thing. But yeah, I had the same experience where I was just like, I bought one. I'm like, this is gonna be so much fun. I played the recorder in 5th grade. Let's go. And went down in my basement and it sounded like a cat was dying for about 2 days, and then eventually it sounded okay.
The difference is I could barely play the recorder. Then I was like, I could barely play this. Let's get an ocarina.
Fair.
Yeah, that should work.
So just to refocus a little bit, what are some of your favorite compositions that you've done, melodies, themes? So like, what are some of your favorite ones? Obviously, you did the Zelda, but any other favorites?
You mean do you mean like things that I've composed or things that I've arranged for YouTube and stuff?
Do both.
I was saying, now that you've given me the option, both.
Yeah, let's do
Please.
Yeah, I compose songs for my band every once in a while. We're working on an album right now, and there's a bunch of songs on that album that's coming out hopefully soon. The ball's in my court. I have to finish mixing it. I'm overwhelmed with projects right now, so it'll come out sometime. But there's a bunch of songs on there that I'm pretty proud of that I think are my best compositions. Again, I'm working on a few game soundtracks, kind of smaller games, indie games and stuff that I'm really proud of. Some of the stuff I'm writing for that. Anywhere between chiptune, retro 8-bit stuff to like full orchestra I'm writing. Actually not doing any metal stuff. Oh, no, I am doing some metal stuff, but I'm doing a lot. But for YouTube and stuff, so I did this one medley back in 2014 where I took songs from video games all the way since 1975, and I made a medley that went from 1975 to 2014 of video game songs, kind of show like the evolution of video gaming over time.
Those are some of your most popular ones, right? Of the videos?
So that was called Replay, and then I redid it last year. I did a 2019 version where it went from 1975 all the way to 2019. There's that, and then there was this Mario medley that I actually I didn't really do any of the main parts myself. I actually got 70 different musicians from YouTube and made a whole medley of Mario through the ages. There's from the first game to Mario Odyssey that had come out the year that medley came out. That was not only my favorite arrangement, but it was also the most rewarding project because, one, all I had to do was the backing stuff. I let everybody else do all the hard stuff, but it was so rewarding to kind of like hear all of this talent, It's obviously very small snippets of every song, but like, I'd pop in the audio file from one person and be like, oh my God, like, Amy Waters is amazing. And then, get through that and then pop in, oh my God, music, like this is mind blowing. And, you know, just like it was so cool to get to work with so much talent, you know, in one project. So that's probably my favorite to work with.
I don't know if I've heard the Mario one. I'm gonna have to go back and listen. I've heard the other ones. I've heard the original one, which is fantastic.
Thank you.
And I've heard the most recent one, the 2019 one. I'm pretty sure, but I don't know if I've heard the whole Mario one. I think one of my favorite arrangements by you is Delfino Plaza.
Oh, right. That was recent. Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
I love the Delfino Plaza one. How it starts out just like normal and then just bang right in the rock. I love it. I absolutely love that.
I did a when I was in school for music. I did a jazz arrangement of Delfino Plaza, but I was a classical guitar major, so I was kind of crossing territories by doing that. But it is somewhere in the deep dark reaches of YouTube. But I would never. I try not to bring it up too much because I was horrifically out of tune and nervous because I was performing as I usually.
So along with composing with 60 other people or working with 60 other people, what have been some of the coolest moments in your career thus far? Like that's got to be up there.
It's up there. I think it's definitely the absolute legends I've got to do covers with. So like in I think it was 2018, I got to do the original Mario Bros theme with John Petrucci from Dream Theater, who's one of my all-time favorite guitarists to ever live. I got a deal through Ernie Ball, who sponsored me to do a video with him to help promote his new guitar, and that was mind blowing. Then 2019, I got to do a cover with Grant Kirkhope, the composer of Banjo-Kazooie, because he also plays guitar, and we got to do the final battle from Banjo-Kazooie together, like as like a dueling guitar thing. And then this year I got to do the Fairy Fountain theme with Jason Richardson, who was originally with Born of Osiris and is now playing for All That Remains. Another one of my favorite guitarists of all time. That just okay, sick.
That's amazing.
And then just this week I played Among Us with Dragon Force. It's insane. It is insane how, like, you know, it started with me going, ha ha ha, Zelda on a guitar. Oops, delete that. That sounds bad. GoldenEye on a guitar. Okay, let's keep that one up. And then, you know, things not where I thought it would go. That's for sure.
Do you have any, other than those, any other dream collaborations that you might try to do in the future?
My favorite band in the world is Avenged Sevenfold. I would love to do something with those guys, but it seems so stupid for me to even ask that. But with what I've had, you know, happen, it doesn't seem that dumb. But but there's also kind of a part of me that like almost doesn't want to, because like not to like ruin the magic, but I kind of always want them to be like the musical gods that just like don't they exist like omnipresently. Just, you know, it's not like to have them actually be a real person might like screw me up fundamentally.
Trust me, I understand that.
Yeah,
I absolutely understand that. When I was in my last show, I got to interview Rev Run of Run DMC. This is way long ago.
Yeah,
and
that's
a up there for me. And he was so rude. It just hurt. It hurt. It hurt real bad. Oh, no. It hurt real bad. So I understand that.
Never meet your heroes. No, I know that. Like, I'm not worried about them being rude. Honestly, like at this point, like I've seen enough of the music industry to know that like you have to have a tough skin to be able to deal with it.
That was my first taste ever. I think I was like a sophomore in college, and I filled it, like, so they had him coming in, and everyone was like too scared to interview him. So like, you want to do it? I was like, yes. Like, I can talk to her in front, of course. And now look where we are. I'm just interviewing everybody. We feel like we have one every day. But that one hurt a little bit. It's like, wow, he's so rude. Why? He's not supposed to be rude. And then I realized what you just said. Like, there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah, it's tough because people take advantage of you. You know, it's like you always think it's like all like glamorized and dramatic in the movies and stuff, but no, I mean, not always out of you know, spite or people trying to be evil, but like especially now, in a time of like where most of the people who are like running these corporations have no idea what a Twitter is, like trying to understand like what is going on, you know, like how do musicians get anywhere? You know, they put all of this money into like advertising and marketing. They put these people on billboards that nobody looks at because everybody's inside because there's a coronavirus. Like, but no, these bands like will put out a Twitter post where they're like, haha meme, you know, and then it'll get like millions of hits, and then suddenly they're getting all this stuff and they have no idea what's going on. It's like, so then those people are the ones who are calling the shots. So not only are they like maybe, you know, being, you know, manipulating because they're like trying to get the most money, but they're being manipulative because they just don't understand. They don't understand what's manipulation anymore. And so I think it's even worse now. Until like the social media generation kind of moves into it. But knowing how time is going, like by then the next thing, virtual social media entered brain link is going to be the thing, and then we're going to be the you know, the boomers who have no idea what's going on. But like
it's funny to see businesses trying to catch up sometimes.
Yeah,
it's really funny. Like they're still on Facebook. Everyone's gone. Like you're too behind.
Yeah.
You're
People try
really
to make
far
memes on like Facebook groups. It's like, dude, come on.
We're behind. We're behind the times. We're past that.
Behind.
People on like Instagram and TikTok now. They're not even
That's
on Twitter anymore. It's they're way behind there.
Yeah.
But the worst part about the industry like that is how disposable artists are to businesses. It's rough.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it a lot. I've seen it with like bands that are up and coming, and they'll use them for an opener for this person or that person, and then they'll never do anything with them again. It's like, it's so disposable. It's like, oh well, there's 1,000 of them. It's like, but there's really not. You chose to work with this person. Like you shouldn't just be throwing them away.
Well, like on from their point of view, it's like it's not cost effective to keep doing favors. You know, it's tough because, yeah, it is manipulative, but it's also like in some ways, like, you know, I've definitely had to be a lot more on the side of the business side of things when kind of being self-employed and stuff like that, like for all of this stuff. But like, I mean, I get it. It's like, you know, especially with like using, you know, trying to teach, you know, old dog new tricks, like throwing money around the same way you would back then. It's not going to be cost effective. So you can't afford to, you know, have the same band sometimes, like, because the same band is going to want more money because they deserve more money, obviously, but sometimes they don't have it. And it's, and, you know, a lot of people might see that as manipulative, and in a way, from a certain point of view, it kind of is, but it's tough. I mean, it's, the times for all this stuff gets so much more complicated. So it's nice that I make video game covers on YouTube. And I'm done. I'm good.
People wonder how come there's so many independent artists now.
Yeah.
This is why. This is exactly why. Because making on your own is so much easier.
And so with all of that, and you've obviously got a lot of insight into this, what advice would you give to someone who was like trying to get started? Because you've got a lot of insights in like YouTube and Twitch and a bunch of other platforms. What advice would you give someone who wanted to start up and coming?
Don't.
Nothing.
Just stop now.
Just stop now.
Well, the thing is just, it's so tough because the thing that worked for me was I took two things that very few people were putting together, and I put it together and I put it on a platform that it wasn't being churned out factory style weekly. You know, like people have been doing video game music on guitars since video game music has been a thing, you know. But I was one of the first people to start really churning them out weekly, starting to try to monetize them by understanding licensing and being able to put it on Spotify and stuff like that. And then kind of building a huge audience for it. Like I was probably one of the biggest, like specifically video game music artists on YouTube, doing what I do. But now it's so much harder because you have to find that balance between, like, if you want to stand out, you have to really find a niche, but the more you niche yourself, the more you're limiting your audience. So it stops becoming like there's a surefire way or any tips or tricks for, you know, like a broad, you know, selection. I think it kind of starts with trying to be Like, I think artists now have to be way more specific with what their goal is than they were before. Where, you know, before they could be like, I want to be a famous rock band, and then Nirvana happens. You know, that doesn't happen anymore. It doesn't. Like, you know, they were able to, you know, be in a garage and be really bad for a really long time, and then play, and then become one of the greatest bands to ever live. But like, people don't really go to live shows as much anymore. Like, that's no longer the funnel, the pigeonhole that everything has to go through. Now there's social media, now there's YouTube, and yeah, there are live shows, and that's definitely a thing still. But because there's so much more, you have to have more of a game plan. And I think that's probably the best thing. The best advice I can give to a general population trying to be artists and try to be successful is, ironically, be more specific. Figure out specifically what it is that you want, and the worst case scenario, you'll land somewhere around what you were trying to do, but at least you had a goal, you know, which I think really, really helps.
It's great advice. Thank you for joining us again. You can catch his streams on Thursday, FamilyJules on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
His videos are Tuesday, and then on your second channel on Jules Conroy.
It's Thursday, YouTube. Saturday, and Monday on Thursday, Jules
Saturday,
Conroy. And then Twitch streams are... What's today? Okay. I thought I had to stream today. Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. I have my life together, I promise.
Go check them out. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Right back with Charlie Rosen from the 8-Bit Big Band. We'll be right back.
Love Charlie. He's so good.